So I'm here today with Rowena B, who's a 15-year-old at a local high school in Peterborough. And Rowena has graciously agreed to sit with me and share her experiences about what it's like being a 15-year-old girl in school and dealing with technology and smartphones and apps and sexting and what I call porn culture. So thanks, Rowena. I think it's very brave of you and courageous to share your experiences. So I really appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah. So Ro, I just want to ask some basic questions just to kind of give some background for the people watching. So you're 15,
Yep.
okay, and you own a smartphone?
Yes.
Okay. Stupid question, right?
Yep.
Of course you own a smartphone, right? Who bought it for you?
My mom did.
Okay.
I was,
And how old were you?
I want to say like maybe 11, 12 years old.
Okay. And when you got the smartphone, did you have any filters or parental controls on it?
I had a few. Obviously, as things progressed with it, if like something would happen, my mom would add more filters to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So just putting them in place when they were needed.
Okay. And did you have any rules when you got the phone, or did your mom, do spot checks on it, or did she say, there's like, you can't lock me out, I need to have access?
Mm-hmm.
Like, was there conversations like that?
There were, a few things where I would have to, ask for permission to do, a certain thing, like download an app. I had to get her to put in a password. She definitely, checked in to see how everything was going, see if I was doing anything inappropriate, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and just making sure everything was okay.
So would you say that she was more hands-on or more hands-off?
Hands-on, definitely.
Hands-on, definitely?
Yes.
Okay. And as did you kind of like resent that a little bit at first, where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
stop it, mom, there's nothing to worry about, like,
Mhm.
what's the big deal? Is that kind of your attitude?
Yeah.
Is that still your attitude now?
A little bit.
Okay.
Well, I'm a stubborn teen, so.
Oh, okay.
But no, it was definitely really annoying and having to ask, to get, Snapchat or something, because, all my friends have it, so why can't I have it? It was
Mhm.
really annoying. But I definitely understand it now.
Okay. And did she talk to you specifically about sexting and sending pictures of yourself? Did she kind of warn you, like, hey, guys are going to ask you for pictures, or maybe even make comments? And did she mention anything about sexual predators? So I know I mentioned a lot there, but
Yeah.
did she touch on any of those things even at 11? How old were you? 11, you
11,
said?
12.
Yeah.
No, actually. I mean, there was a very, brief talk, don't talk to strangers, but that was, it. There was nothing about, people hitting on you or, asking for pictures. There was nothing about that.
Okay. But
I think for her, social media is very different than mine because, she's older and I'm younger, so the social media is definitely very different for the both of us. So the things that I have people asking me on social media are different from what people are asking her.
Fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. What kind of apps do you have on your phone?
Oh God.
And that your friends have? Like, what are the top 5 most popular?
Instagram.
Would that be number 1?
Definitely.
Okay.
Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok.
Yeah.
Visco.
Sorry, Visco?
Visco.
Okay.
It's
VISCO?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
That's a new one. What's that one?
It's just a place to post pictures, very aesthetically pleasing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So Instagram, you'll post kind of whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But Visco, it's you give yourself an aesthetic and then you follow that with your page.
Is there filters and stuff that
There's a lot of filters.
overlays or whatever they're called? Okay, so So that's more of a place, so would you say that's a sexualized type
No,
of app, or
not at
more of an aesthetic thing?
Just an aesthetic kind of
Okay, okay, all right.
It's mostly
interesting.
girls on there, so.
And girls looking at girls on there? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so those would be, so Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and what'd you call it?
Visco.
Visco, okay. Any others? Is Pinterest used, or is that?
Pinterest is used, but I use that to like find like wallpapers for my phone.
Right.
And to like find a way to like make my room look pretty.
Right.
Like, all that stuff.
Right.
Not Visco, Pinterest is not used as much anymore.
Okay. Are high school kids on Tinder yet?
I've seen a few of my friends using Tinder. Definitely not seriously though. They
Right.
definitely find it's very funny to them to like catfish people and mess around on there.
Can you explain catfish?
Just like pretending to be someone else, like going on to Google and like finding pictures of someone consistently and then taking those pictures and using them on dating apps, saying like, oh, I'm this person.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen a few people do that. Some people mess around and like find, like random pictures and like memes and stuff, and they'll just like post those on there. Just, messing around with people.
So will they go so far like to pretend they're another person with a different picture, start messaging a guy, and then like
They don't.
flirt or play around,
No.
like lead them on?
They
or?
don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Thank God. But
Okay.
no, they definitely. I've seen a few of my friends make accounts messing around, but they don't. At least I haven't seen any of them like messaging anyone, flirting, leading them on, or like anything like that.
Okay. So it's kind of a joke, really, but it's
Yeah.
not taken seriously. Okay. Ro, tell me about the first time, if any, that you experienced any sexually inappropriate behaviors or interactions from another guy or girl.
So I think the first one that I vividly remember, I was in grade 6.
Grade 6.
Grade 6.
So you're 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have your phone yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So it was just after Christmas, so I had just gotten my phone.
Oh, that was your Christmas present?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was in grade 6, 11, 12 years old, and it was on Instagram. I had someone message me, and I want to assume he was in his 30s. And
On Instagram?
On Instagram.
Like a DM, a direct message?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he messaged me, and this was so long ago, I don't remember the messages exactly, but it was him saying, like, I think you're really beautiful, I would love to be with you, like, I own a store, I can take care of you, I have money, and just, it was super weird. And of course, like, I was in grade 6, so I'm like, I don't know how to respond to this, so
Yeah.
I was just like super awkward replying to him, because my mom, like I said, they didn't really talk to me about things like that. She said, don't talk to strangers, but I'm a stubborn child. I ended up talking to him.
Well, I mean, not only that, but aren't we taught, like, when someone talks to you, you respond, right? Even if it's in a messaging way.
Yeah.
So was part of you kind of like, well, it would be rude to ignore them?
Yeah, that's exactly what
Right.
it is. Yeah.
So you have these two kind of messages, like, don't talk to strangers, but you also taught
be
over
nice,
here,
don't
like,
be rude.
don't be rude to people. So, okay, so you kind of
I was
like
in a
wrote
weird,
him back,
yeah,
like,
I was in a weird position because like my mom told me, like don't talk to strangers, but she's also a very like be nice to people. You don't know what they're going through.
yeah.
Just a very nice person. So
Right,
I
right.
was stuck in that weird.
And how did that play out then with this guy? Can you share
It
that?
made me really uncomfortable because it was him like saying like I'll move to Canada or whatever.
Oh, he was in another country.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is I don't know what it is. And I don't want to sound offensive when I say this, but a lot of the messages that I receive are from people in like third world countries.
Okay.
So I've gotten a lot of, messages from people in like, I think the main place I get them is like India.
India, okay.
Somewhere in India.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. It just happens.
Well, I mean, if I'm guessing, it's because you're, you're in Canada and you're looking like an easy victim, let's say, to groom you and then find a way to like get together with you and move here.
Yeah.
Like I think that's maybe what's behind it, because he was saying like I'll move there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next thing was, can you sponsor me or something like
Yeah.
that? Like, because I don't think they even probably realize an 11-year-old girl can't help them out that way, or who knows? It's hard to say what their motivation is, or maybe they just wanted to chat with someone. Yeah. Okay. So did you end up just stop talking to him?
I did, yeah.
Okay. And he
got
left you
very
alone, or?
uncomfortable. Yeah, I
Okay.
blocked him.
Okay, you blocked him.
So he couldn't see my profile. He couldn't see what I was posting. He couldn't like find me pretty much.
Yeah. I get messages, by the way, weekly from on Instagram, just from random women that I don't know, and they're like,
those would be bots.
"Hey, handsome," or whatever.
Those are bots.
Bots, and then if you ever do, because I've accepted them, like because it sends you like a request to talk to you, so I'll accept it just to see what happens, right? And
It's always like the worst thing to do. I do it too. It's like, oh, I wonder where this will go, but then
Yeah.
it just like goes completely downhill.
well,
and
it's
never ends well.
it's basically a couple of links away from some kind of sex site, dating site, webcamming site. Like it always goes back to something like that, right?
Yeah.
So now that I know that they're bots, and yeah, and I'm not sure a lot of people out there realize that there's bots that troll.
It's very
Instagram.
common. It's very, very common.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like weird to think about. It's weird to think about, but it's, I have a boyfriend, and he actually messaged me last night, and he sent me a screenshot of like 5 bots requesting to message him.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I think once I'm not sure if you accept it, I don't know if it means you get more of them or what, but I get like 2 or 3 a week, so now it's just, block, at least 2 or 3 a week. Okay. So that was 11. So you get your phone and hardly a month has gone by and you're getting DM'd from guys, random strangers in other countries. Okay. So as you got older and into high school, tell me about any more of those experiences.
Last year, I had someone, again from India, message me, and he's very, very, very persistent, and it was really, really bad. He was, messaged me saying, "I love you, you're so hot, you're so attractive," all like the flattering things someone would say, and it eventually got to the point where he was sending me clips of pornography, sending me inappropriate pictures of himself, sending me inappropriate videos of himself, and it was really disturbing. It was really.
And this is to your Instagram account?
Yeah,
okay.
This is to my Instagram.
So how many times would you say he messaged you?
Oh, goodness. Over 100 times.
100?
Over 100. Like,
maybe hundreds?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many of these pictures and videos was he sending?
Of himself, I think he sent maybe 10.
Yeah.
And clips of pornography, I think there were maybe 3.
Okay.
Yeah. It was very, very disturbing.
Yeah. And did you eventually block him? Like why did it go on for so long?
I don't know why I don't like blocking people. It seems like the last resort to something that's like really, really, really bad. And I don't know why. It's just, I don't like blocking people. There are very few people that I have blocked, but it did get to the point where I did block him, and then, maybe a month later, I went through who I had blocked, and I'm like, I don't know who this is, so I unblocked them, and then he started messaging me again, which meant that in the month that I had blocked him, he was still attempting to message me, because if you...
Otherwise he would have stopped altogether, right?
Yeah, so
Wow.
I think how it worked was if I block someone but we have a conversation, he can still keep the conversation and continue to message me. I just won't get the notification or see it.
Will he know that? Because they don't know they're blocked, do they?
Mm-hmm.
So in his mind, he's just bombarding you with these messages, thinking he'll wear you down eventually.
Yeah.
And then a month later, you pop back up, and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, "Okay, here we go."
Mm-hmm.
So your thinking was be nice and just work with a guy, and eventually he'll get the message like,
Yeah.
"No thanks, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Don't send me those." And right?
Mm-hmm. It didn't matter what I said, he would continue to send me videos. He would try to FaceTime me because that's a
He tried to FaceTime you?
yeah. So on
So your phone
Instagram-
would start ringing, and
Yep.
it would just be a FaceTime call from some guy. Did you see his name on there?
Yeah, it would be his username and then his profile picture.
Okay.
So yeah, I think he would call me, or try to call me maybe like 5 times a day.
On FaceTime?
Yeah.
So this must have been distressing,
It was very distressing. Yeah.
like stressful.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't have enough to deal with as a 15-year-old girl in life,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have this going on.
Yeah. I think I was 14 when this was
14,
happening.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, did you go to your mom? Like, did you talk to a trusted adult, or?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It was one of those things where, my mom had told me don't talk to strangers, but if I showed her the messages, you would see that I was talking to him, telling him, hey, I'm not interested, please stop. But I was still engaging with him.
So you were afraid if
So-
you went to your mom, she'd get mad because you did talk to a stranger, and so it was easier just to try to handle it on your own?
Yeah.
Or? Okay. So does she know to this day about
I
this
don't
stuff?
think so.
Don't think so? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this is kind of a concern. Like, I've interviewed a lot of people and experts in the field, and counselors and speakers and people that work with kids, and they all say the same thing. You got to talk to the kids and the teenagers and the young women, and you have to let them know, come to us, and this is what the message we're getting out to parents.
Mm-hmm.
You got to tell your kids, look, you got to come to us if this stuff's going on. We're not going to be mad if you didn't listen to us, like that's fine, because you're kind of figuring it out anyway, right? You don't need your parent like, what the hell, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Like, they might be mad for 5 minutes, okay? But that's the message we're trying to get out is, have someone like that there needs to be someone that they can talk to,
Yeah.
whether it's parents or teachers. Do they talk about any of this stuff in school?
No, none of it.
None of it's talked about.
No.
No curriculum, no sex ed. The teachers don't mention it. Okay.
No.
That's really distressing in a way, because wouldn't it be great if you had a class and this was all brought up, and then the teacher, like say there was a teacher or a guidance counselor, would be like, hey, you guys ever getting into any issues? Like, go see so-and-so down at the... Do they have guidance counselors at school anymore?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, wouldn't that for some people be safer maybe than, okay, you don't have to deal with your mom or your dad yelling at you, but hey, I can go to the guidance counselor and tell them?
See, a lot of people, for me, definitely, I would love to take, if that did become a part of the curriculum,
Curriculum?
Yeah. To learn that would be
Just gonna drink here.
great, definitely. But there are a lot of kids that are like, well, no, I don't want to talk to my teachers about this. This is my personal life. This has nothing to do with you. Just mind your own business, pretty much. And there are a lot of kids that don't trust the school counselor, because when it comes to certain things, they do call your parents and they do say, hey, this is what's going on, even if the kids don't want their parents to know.
Right. And the kids don't want their parents because they're embarrassed, or?
They're embarrassed, they're shamed.
Yeah.
They just, their at-home life isn't great, so their parents would react in a very not correct way.
Yeah. Shaming or judgmental
Yeah.
or angry. Okay. So tell me what it's like being 15. Everyone has a phone. Do you get asked for pictures? Do your friends get asked for pictures? What's going on?
It's one of those things where it is very common, but when it does happen, you're like, whoa, what's this, kind of. So
What happens to you mean?
yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, there's been times where my friend will be sent a picture at school, and, you know, we're so, this sounds horrible, but we're so numb to it.
Really?
We're really numb to it at this point. So, like, a guy will send us a picture, and we'll just be like,
Just to be clear, of what? A picture of what? Dick pic?
Yeah.
A dick pic?
Yeah.
Okay. So another guy in high school, is
Mhm.
15, 16, 17,
Can be, like, older,
older,
like 20
18,
sometimes.
okay, just sends you a picture of his naked penis.
Mhm.
Okay, and this is so common that you're desensitized to it.
Obviously, it's gross.
Yeah, no, I
Obviously.
know, yeah. No, I hear you, but it's like so daily? Is this daily?
Not daily.
Like among your peer group, maybe? Will at least
maybe-
one of you get one every week, or?
Sometimes.
Okay.
You know, some of my friends are more out there than the rest, but yeah, sometimes it'll be like maybe twice a week.
Okay.
Different people sometimes.
Right. And are these guys you know?
No,
How do they get your number?
it's on Instagram.
Oh, it's on Instagram.
Everything is on Instagram.
Okay, so the main culprit here is Instagram.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Instagram is where the people that you don't know message you. Snapchat is where the people that you do know message you.
Okay, so talk about Snapchat, because I know that
Oh.
you know the thing with for those that are watching and aren't familiar with Snapchat, it's a self-deleting app. So when you send a picture or a video, it deletes itself in
24 hours.
24 hours. Okay, so what's going on with Snapchat?
So Snapchat, I want to say maybe 3-4 years ago had a really bad reputation for, you know, people sending nudes.
Right.
So obviously a lot of people were like, I don't want to get it or whatever, but now everyone has it, and that's where you talk to your friends, and sometimes those friends are into each other, and they'll be like, hey, I'm really into you, like, do you trade pics, like, do you trade nudes,
When they say
Things like
pics, is that assumed to mean nudes?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
So pics and nudes are kind of synonymous, right?
Yeah, so
Okay. You know what we used to do when I was your age?
What?
Hold hands. Yeah.
yeah,
That was a big deal.
yeah, couples do that now.
That wasn't even on the first date. That was maybe after a few dates we might hold hands, right?
Yeah, now it's
So we're skipping all that. It's just right to
pretty much.
exchange pictures. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many have you got? Have you got these on Snapchat, like from guys?
No, I have not actually.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, that's a lie. I think I've gotten a small handful of them. It was definitely weird because, like I said, Snapchat is where you talk to your friends. So there's been a few people that have sent them to me, and it's like, okay, block. I'm done with you. Don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't need to know what's down there. I already know
Yeah.
you're a boy. I don't
Yeah.
need any more proof.
I know
Like,
I know what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seen one, seen them all.
Yep.
More or less. So how does that affect your? I'm thinking like, so you know this person in real life, and then this happens, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna block you. How does that, in the real world, affect your relationship now? Like, did they come up to you and say, "Did you get my picture?" Or like, what do you say? What do you even say?
It's definitely awkward.
Wouldn't it make it weird?
It's very weird. There's one person that sent me a picture who went to my school at the time, and it was very awkward passing him in the hallway. He knew that I saw it, and he just assumed that I had blocked him because of that, and we stopped talking.
Right. So it kind of ends the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Now, for girls that, let's say friends of yours that, let's say they get the picture and then they go back and then, so let's say there's some back and forth. So and they're not a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. So this is going back and forth. Where does that go? Like, is that the whole point of it?
Yeah.
Show me mine, I'll show, like, show me yours, I'll show you mine, and then we all get a laugh, and then, is that the point?
Pretty much. It never goes anywhere.
It's not intended to be a crude form of flirtation that leads to a sexual encounter? No.
I mean, for some people, it'll be like they'll send a picture and they'll be like, hey, you want to come over? Just saying, like, hey, you want to hook up, pretty much.
Right.
Most of the time it's no. I do know a few people that'll be like, oh my god, yeah, or whatever, but
Okay.
it's very rare for that to happen.
Right.
But other than that, sending nudes literally leads to nothing.
Huh.
It's weird.
Yeah. So it's okay. So now my next question is, among your peers, do they understand the legal implications of so if you're a minor and if you send a picture of yourself naked to a guy, do they all understand that he's in possession of child pornography?
Yeah.
And that as soon as he shares that, he's guilty of distribution of child pornography?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have seen that happen. It is very, in grade 8, I was in grade 7, the people I was happening with were, the girl and the boy. The girl was in grade 7, the guy was in grade 8.
Okay.
And they traded pictures, and he kept hers and shared it with all his guy friends. And it was definitely one of those things where everyone knew that it was wrong, but no one was doing anything about it. Because
not even the teachers or administration?
Well,
or did they not know?
They didn't know.
They didn't know.
Because the students knew that it was wrong, and they knew for a fact that if it did end up getting brought up to a teacher, that it would then go to the principal, and then the principal would deal with it, and then parents would be called, and the kids didn't want that because no one wants their parents being called.
Yeah, and I know sometimes the cops get called in and they don't really ever, very rarely lay charges, but it's just kind of a scare tactic. Because, next thing you know, you're in the principal's office and there's your parents, both sets of parents, the principal and a cop, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah, but at my school, cops were very common.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
interesting school.
Okay.
A lot.
Public school or high school?
Public school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of things happened. I don't remember them quite exactly, but there were a few where kids were vandalizing the school, kids were smoking on the school. Drugs. It was a small town. There was nothing to do, so kids would message people in the city, be like, "Hey, bring me stuff. I'll pay you."
Okay.
So pretty much steal money from their parents, and then they would end up with, weed, cigarettes.
Right.
Pretty much anything that they wanted.
Okay, gotcha. Huh.
It was a very small town.
Where was this?
This was in Omimi.
Omimi, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now here's the other thing that happens, and I don't know, Ro, if your friends are talking about this, but you ever heard the term revenge porn?
Yes.
Okay, so what happens is, a guy and girl exchange pictures. Let's say they're going out, so they're a couple, and then she breaks up with him for whatever reason. He's got these pictures of her, and she breaks up with him. So he's hurt and angry, and being 16, immature and emotionally immature. So he decides like, hey, I'm gonna post these, or like more than, I'm not just meaning sharing with his friends. I mean like he'll go to a website and post these without her consent. Have you had anyone? Does anyone have that happen?
No.
Okay.
But
you are aware of it, right?
I'm well aware.
Okay.
No.
And does that deter girls from thinking about sending pictures?
Sometimes they can. It depends.
Sometimes? Okay.
It really it depends on the people in the situation. I know girls who would turn around and be like, well, if you do that, then I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and I'm going to ruin your life, and I'm going to do this to you, and I'm going to do this to you.
Right, because they might have pictures too then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it can go both ways.
It really can.
Okay. As far as you know, in your friend group, there hasn't been a big escalation of like revenge porn, sharing of pictures and stuff like that.
No,
right?
not that I know of.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so here's another thing. Do girls ever end up sharing pictures that then get posted or passed around, and then they get blowback from that? Like they get
Yeah.
bullied or shamed, or like tell me about that.
It's
like,
yeah, I've known, or I do know a few people who have, you know, shared pictures with someone, and then those pictures being shared to everyone, and it never ends well, ever. I know a few people who have gone into like, who have gotten who have started getting really bad, you know, like panic attacks. Their depression has gotten worse, or has like become depressed.
Yeah.
I know a few people who have become suicidal and have started self-harming.
Wow. So is this because of the feedback circulating around?
Yeah.
So what about the pictures?
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the? Can you think of any comments that people make?
Just people saying like, well, she's such a slut. She's a whore.
Okay.
You know, it's her fault for these being sent around. She shouldn't have sent them in the first place. Just pretty much anything.
So like slut shaming,
Pretty much.
basically. And does the guy not ever get any flack for being the idiot that shared them in the first place? Like, why does he not get shamed? Because he's really the one that should be shamed, if anyone should be.
Yeah, I think it's because the guy in the situation painted himself as, well, she sent them to me first. You know, I wasn't asking for them, because he only posts the picture. He doesn't post the conversation along with the picture.
Right.
Like,
where he
no.
begged her for 3 days for
Yeah.
a picture, and then, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't see the peer pressure behind it.
Right.
So.
What do girls think of other girls that do that? Do you think, oh, like she's a slut, or do you think like, oh, well, you know, do whatever you want, like it's your life, it's your body, or like what's the attitude?
For a lot of girls, they react differently. You know, some girls will say, you know, same things the guys are saying. You know, she's such a slut, she's a whore. You know, the girls that are friends with the girl in the picture will obviously be very angry, because they'll know the story, they'll know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they'll, you know, go after the guy and be like, why would you post this? This is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you know, if it's at school, they'll bring in the principal, and they'll make sure that it gets as big as possible so that he gets in trouble, which he deserves.
Yeah.
There are some girls that are like they just don't really care. You know, it's like it has nothing to do with me. I'm not getting involved in it or anything like that.
What percentage, and I don't know if you can answer this accurately, but so if there's 100 girls in you're in grade 10, right?
Going into grade 11.
Grade 11. So let's say in grade 10, 11, and 12 there's 100 girls. Let's just take an even number. How many of them are doing this, do you think? Like sending pictures of themselves? Do you have any idea? Like, could you make a guesstimate, or like half of them? Okay, let's go with more than half or less than half. What do you think?
That's a hard one. You know, I'm going to go with...
Or do you think it's 50-50?
I'd say 50-50.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's a lot of girls that, you know, do it for attention, do it because of peer pressure, or do it because of why not, I guess, you know, make them happy, I guess. And I know that they're, like, the other side of girls are like, no, it's dumb, it's ridiculous, I'm not doing that, or I'm not doing it again. Yeah, it's definitely 50-50.
Okay. So the motive is, you mentioned some, like, peer pressure. Maybe they're just worn down by, like, relentless, you know, someone's just asking them, which I guess is kind of still peer pressure. Well, what was the other thing you said? Attention? Oh,
Attention.
they want to do it for attention.
Mm.
Do they do it because like they think a guy's cute, they got an eye on a guy, and it's like, hey, here's a way to get his attention? Like, does that happen?
Yeah, it can.
Okay.
Especially if he's the one asking for it, it'll be like, oh, well, you're interested in me, so why not? Here's a picture. So things like that definitely happen. Girls do it to guys too. I'm definitely not saying that only guys ask for nudes, because I've had girls ask me for nudes.
Girls have asked you for nudes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty common. It's
Do you just block them too, or do you have
Yeah,
do you have a
sometimes.
conversation? Do you know them usually?
When I had a girl ask me for nudes, she was friends with my ex,
Okay.
so she knew of me, but I didn't know about her.
Okay.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
But they're very persistent.
How'd you handle it?
I was just like, I'm not interested. Please leave me alone. Like, the normal things I would reply with when someone's asking. It's like, please just leave me alone, and then just block.
If they don't listen, yeah. Do your friends talk about, just to change the topic a bit here, porn? So you mentioned about getting clips of porn sent to you. Do your friends, how prevalent is porn use in your age group, would you say, like girls and guys? Like, I've had a lot of girls, young women, under, let's say 30, like my clients usually, they don't know a guy that doesn't watch porn.
Yeah, it's pretty common. It's especially in boys, it's very common for them to watch porn. For girls, I think it's something that if they were to talk about it publicly, they'd be shamed for it. But it's weird because, guys are like, oh yeah, a guy watches porn, it's pretty normal. But if a girl's like, oh, I watch porn, they'd be like, that's gross, why would you do that? It's the same reason a guy would watch it.
It's like a double standard,
Yeah.
almost, or
There's a lot of
it's
those
less
now.
acceptable. Well, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the guys, what goes on like that? So you say most guys watch it, and you know that because they just freely admit it, or?
I think if you were to ask a guy, like literally just like on the street, like, do you watch porn? He'd probably say yes.
Okay, so you're saying like pretty much most of the guys in your age like watch porn, and how do you know that? Like, do they show you stuff? Do they hear them? Do you see them in class watching it?
They're not that dumb.
Oh, okay.
No, I've definitely had a few of my friends be like, oh yeah, I watch porn or whatever, or he'll I had one of my friends show me, like, oh yeah, I use this website or whatever. But for girls, it's definitely not as accepted, which is weird because I know a few of my friends that do watch it. It's pretty common. So.
Is it out of, like, do they say why? Like, out of curiosity, or to learn things, or?
I'll be honest with you, I myself do watch it. The first time I did watch it was definitely to learn things, because, sex ed for girls is more of, this is your uterus, and this is how this works, this is how baby grows, and like all that stuff.
Biological
you don't
body
actually learn about sex. So I had no idea what an orgasm was until I watched porn. No idea. So for a lot of girls, it's to learn, which I think is absolutely horrible. But
well, I'll just throw a comment in on there. Is the problem with learning from porn is a lot of porn, not all of it. It's fake, but it's also very unrealistic, and it's violent, and it's hateful, and there's a lot of porn now that's misogynistic, like very demeaning toward women, and what I'm hearing from people in your age and older, so let's say 15 to 25, what I'm hearing from women is, you know, guys want to, you know, do these different sex acts and things that they're uncomfortable, they're not pleasant, and I don't enjoy them, and you know, he wants to choke me and all of this stuff, and they're learning it from porn. And then, you know, my concern is that women are going to think this is what sex should be like, and it shouldn't be something that's uncomfortable or painful or hurtful or anything that makes you that makes you feel uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. Well, because when you watch it,
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, because when you watch it, it all looks so seamless.
Right.
Like it all just looks like super easy, and then
right.
when you know you actually go to do those things, it's like this doesn't look like it's like you see something in a movie and then you try to recreate it. It's like this doesn't seem like the movie, and it's not turning out the way I expected it to.
Yeah. Well, and one of the ladies I interviewed in Australia, she speaks to students all over the country, and girls your age are telling her like, you know, I'm having sex with my boyfriend and he just starts choking me. Like I don't want to be choked. I didn't ask for that, and they're like, what are you doing? Like if I was just out somewhere getting a coffee at Starbucks, for example, and they turned around and started choking the girl behind me, the cops would be called and I get charged with assault. Yeah. But when you do it in porn, it's okay or something, right? So
yeah.
this is becoming very common.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to porn, there's a contract, and you sign the contract and you agree to those things. In real life, for people when they're having sex, there's no contract.
No.
Like it's just in the moment for people. But
it's supposed to be a verbal contract called consent.
Yeah.
And that's what should be being taught to people.
Yeah.
Consent means saying yes. It's not just not saying no. It's saying yes, and it's I agree to this and I don't agree to that. But I don't think a lot of that's going on.
For most people, when they ask for consent, it's can I have sex with you, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no like.
But what does that mean, though, right?
Yeah, like there's no like, is it okay if I choke you? Is it okay if I do this? Are you comfortable with this? Are you not comfortable with this? Like, there's none of that.
Yeah.
It's just, can I have sex with you?
Yeah.
That's it.
And then you're kind of like hoping that it's not anything that you hate or that's terrible or violent, but you don't really know, especially if you don't really know the person, right?
Yeah, I think for at least couples that, you know, are having sex, I think if, you know, your partner does something and you don't like it, you should say, hey, I don't like this, please don't do it again.
Absolutely.
And your partner should respect those requests.
Yeah.
But if you don't know the person that you're having sex with, it can be harder to say, like, hey, just like don't do this.
I agree 100%.
Because like when it comes to, you know, like hookups, like you want to make each other happy and then you want to cut it off and split ways.
Yeah.
So asking to be like, hey, can we not do this? Then it just gets to, for some people, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do it anymore then. Yeah. Well, no, I know a few people that are like that, so.
Yeah, so we'll wrap up our role, but I have a question. Do you think smartphones and technology, like I didn't grow up with any of this stuff, right? And, you know, I didn't know any different. Do you think smartphones, social media, you know, has it made your life better? Because if I talk to the average 15-year-old and say, like, give up your smartphone for a month, they'd be, you know, like, it's almost like you can't imagine life without your smartphone, right? And I'm not saying technology isn't the problem, and technology isn't evil or anything. It's all how you use it. But did you ever have days where you're like, it'd just be simpler if I didn't have this thing? Or what do you think?
Yeah, there's a thing right now where people are making money off of sexual ads. So it'll be a girl like wearing really like short shorts and like a sports bra and like bouncing around on the camera or in front of the camera, like showing off her cleavage, and she'll post that video, send it to an account, that account will post it, and they'll both make money off of it.
There's one called Fans Only. Is that the one you're talking about?
No. I'm talking about Instagram in general.
Yeah. Oh, Instagram in general.
Instagram in general.
Okay, so they're monetizing on Instagram, these
Mm-hmm.
things. Okay, because there's a site that's specifically to monetize
Mm-hmm.
your pictures called Fans Only.
Yeah, that
Yeah, or Fans You, or
Fans
you,
Only.
You,
It's
okay,
Fans
Fans
Only.
Only, yeah.
it's Fans Only's interesting story because a girl can go on there, post her nudes, and then make money off of it. But guys will turn around and be like, "You're such a slut. You're a whore.
Mm-hmm.
You're all of these horrible things."
Mm-hmm.
But they're perfectly okay with it when it's their guy friend showing the same pictures to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's not okay when she can make money off of
Yeah.
it, but it is okay when she hasn't given consent to it.
Yeah, well, and the other part of that is what I call objectification. So when you go on Fans Only, and there's Lisa, let's say, and she's naked, and you're thinking that's great, and it's really sexy and stuff, and then you find out that it's your friend's sister. Oh, well, now she's not an object. She's actually like a person, because I know her and I know her brother, and you know what I mean? So then that's like the other disconnect too. Like when I hear people tell stories like that, it's like, as long as you just see her as an object, it's okay to objectify her
But when it's
and
someone
slut shame her and everything. But what if it's your aunt or daughter? Like that's someone's daughter or aunt or sister or something, right?
Yeah.
But they don't think about that, do they? Yeah. Okay, Rose. So it seems like it's really how you use technology.
It's definitely not Instagram. It's the people that are on Instagram. It's not Snapchat. It's the people that are on Snapchat. So, there are some days where I'm definitely like, I can go without my phone for today. Because there you just see so many things where like, this is gross. I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
And the people who are, posting sexual ads, they know that no one wants to see it. Because it'll be an account. The accounts that post it are like meme accounts.
Right.
So when your audience agrees, like send me or show me funny pictures. Don't show me this. And people will make that clear. Like the comment section will be turned on and people will go into the comments and be like, I don't want to see this. This is disgusting. Or there's some people, a new thing that guys love to say is, she belongs to the streets. Implying she's a hoe, she's a whore, she's a hooker. So.
And therefore, what? She's not to be taken seriously, or
yeah, pretty much.
We can do whatever we want.
Pretty much.
To her? Okay.
I don't know how to explain it. It's insulting. It's really rude, and if a girl's to turn around and be like, no, she's not. She's still a human being. Guys will turn around and be like, oh, you're such a snowflake. It was a joke. Calm down. Like, that's the thing now. If you insult someone and they get offended by it, you can turn around and say they're a snowflake.
Right.
Or that they're too sensitive.
Yeah.
Because their feelings were hurt.
Do you feel young women like yourself are generally respected by guys?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
There are very few, people that I know that will look at a woman and be like, I respect you. There's a lot of guys that see women as objects, and it sucks.
And is there kind of like this hierarchy among girls, like, if you got looks, like you're worth more based on your appearance, or because the message that the culture gives girls, like think about the beauty industry and the fashion industry and the fitness industry, and like nothing against those, like my fiance works in the beauty industry, right, and nothing wrong with looking beautiful, but the message is your value and worth depends on your ability to get attention or affirmation, right? Is that right? So
yeah, it is.
it seems kind of unfair or shallow.
Just wait for this.
Okay.
So there's a huge thing. You're absolutely right. But guys will turn around and be like, she has to be natural. She has to be naturally curvy. She can't, have a cake face, so she can't be wearing too much makeup.
Cake face.
Cake face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too much makeup.
Because if she has too much makeup, then she's a catfish.
Catfish. Okay. So women are sort of categorized and labeled like crazy.
Oh, yes.
Like all over the place.
Yeah.
So almost like doesn't matter what you do. So I don't want to be a cake face, so let's just go no makeup and a ponytail. It's like, well, why don't you do something with yourself?
Yeah,
why don't you fix yourself
and then
up?
you'll be called ugly and that you don't care.
Right.
And you're unattractive and
Right.
all those things.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this is really interesting, and you know, I really appreciate you taking time. With all my interviews, Ro, I end with a challenge for the person I'm interviewing. What would you like to say to the viewers that are counselors and therapists working in schools, working with kids, working with youth? What would you like them to know? Like, you know, take the shame out, have the conversations, educate better. Like, what would the message be? Sorry, I didn't give you any time to prepare for this.
No, it's
I'm just
okay.
throwing that on you. But if you could leave them with one thing, as a 15-year-old, talking to them, what would that be?
For teachers, first of all, like that work in schools that do sex education, teach, I'm going to say girls because I don't know what the boys learn, but teach girls about sex. You know, it's still important to know, you know, how everything works and, you know, how giving birth works and all that stuff, but how does sex work? Because, you know, we don't learn about that. We don't learn about orgasms or, you know, like all
Consent.
that stuff. Yeah, consent.
Healthy, what's healthy and unhealthy.
Yeah, we don't learn about any of that.
Okay. Yeah.
For, like, just in general, you know, if you have someone come up to you and be like, hey, this person peer pressured me into doing this and I ended up doing it, don't shame them.
Right.
Yes, it's hard not to be like, well, you just sent pictures to someone, that's gross. Like, don't, try not to do that because then it makes them feel even worse about themselves.
Right.
And I'm speaking from personal experience. I've been peer pressured into sending inappropriate pictures and I talked to someone about it and I was shamed for it and I already felt horrible. So not having someone to talk to about it is really, it's hard.
Yeah. So you need a safe person.
Yeah.
And that might not be your parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if, you know, someone tells you like, hey, this is what happened, try to remove the shame from it.
Yeah.
Try to make it a safe environment for the person to talk about it.
Well, that's a great message, Ro, for mental health professionals, because you know we're going to start seeing more and more of these issues all the time. For people that work with, I don't work with a lot of youth and teens. I do a bit, but there's some people that work predominantly with youth and teens, and you know they're going to be hearing all these things you shared, like it's going on, and I think it's just going to keep getting worse and more and more prevalent. So you know they need to. We need to know as professionals how to have those conversations, and like you say, exactly, it's okay, you did that, all right, what can we learn from it? What were you thinking? What was going on? What can we learn? And you know, how do we fix it or make it better or minimize the damage or you know whatever. But yeah, okay, good. Those are great words of advice, Ro. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks for taking time to share. And we'll sign off there.
Okay.
Okay.